Let us start our lab today. Let others join. Am I audible to all of you? Hello? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon,
Yes, sir.
everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Now, let us start our solid mechanics laboratory class today. Since university has not yet give us the syllabus, we are going through the syllabus of advanced strength of material of got from Ramgarh Engineering College, which was taught to them in Binoba Bhave Institute of Binoba Bhave University, and they have the experiments all right, but I don't have this, so I cannot share you the video of our lab because I don't have this lab with me. But I will share you certain videos downloaded from YouTube, which is fairly good and give you some idea of these experiments as well. Let us start with the experiment support reaction of a simply supported beam. And let me tell you some recapitulation of something about the beam itself. In your third semester strength of material, there was a chapter one, shear force and bending moments of a beam, and shear stress and bending stresses across a beam itself. First of all, you have to know what you are supposed to know with about what you are supposed to explain about the definition. What we are supposed to know about the definition of a beam itself. We have seen in our strength of material studies different prismatic bar of different cross section of different length. They are either subjected to an axial loading, means the load is applied, it is a pointed load along the longitudinal axis of the beam itself. Load can be tensile, load can be compressive. In this case, we call it prismatic bar and make all our calculation itself. But sometimes it may happen that prismatic bar is subjected to a load which is normal to the longitudinal axis. This type of load creates tensile or compressive force all right, but not throughout the length of the beam itself. It is has a tendency to bend due to the action of external force. And this type of bars or prismatic bar, which is subjected to a pointed load, maybe distributed load, maybe torque, maybe a combination of all of them, is defined as a beam. Beam is nothing but a prismatic bar, but it is subject to a load normal to its cross section itself. That is the definition of the beam as per our theory of strength of material. There is absolutely no difference between prismatic bar and the beam, but only due to the application or only due to the application of the external loads, we have make a small differentiation. Now, next will come what are the different types of beam and what are the different types of load and what are the different ways of supporting the beam against this load. We know that different types of beams are like this. When it is supported on both the sides, it is under it is called simply supported. Simply supported may be like this. It is supported at both the ends, and it may be like this. Support is away from the beam up to a certain known distance, maybe from one side or maybe from both sides. This is also simply supported. Another is simply supported. One end of the support is at the end, must be at the end, and it is hinge joint. Hinge means the door hinge, that type of joint. And other end is just supported and no hinge on it. This other end can be at the end or can be away from the end, but hinge joint must be at the end. This is also simply supported. Thirdly, cantilever beam. It is embedded once in one side inside the wall of the beam, one side of the wall, and it is totally hanging and it is loaded on it, and it is totally supported by the wall, which a portion which is having a certain portion of it inside it to give it proper rigid support itself. This is called cantilever beam. Next is continuous beam. It may so happen as per your requirement, supports are simply supported, called as simply supported, only they are only two in number. It can be, but also happen as per your application. Supports may be three, supports may be four, supports may be five or so. These type of supports are defined as continuous supported beam, which is beyond your syllabus. Now, these are the different type of supports. Next, what are the different type of beam? What are different type of load? The load can be pointed load, a single load acting on a specific point over the length of the beam, or a number of load, but all are single load acting on different point of the beam. This is called point load. It can be distributed load. Distributed loads are a certain amount of load distributed up to a from starting from one point two and will finish it from one another point of the beam. It can be distributed throughout the length of the beam, and it can be distributed part of the length of the beam. This is called uniformly distributed load. This universally distributed load may be of two types. Distributed load of distribution is uniform. It doesn't vary. It depends only on the length itself. And another type is there. The load is varying non-uniformly. So varying like a triangle, varying like a ellipse, varying like a parabola like this. This type of load is also possible. And this is another type of distributed load. So what we have pointed load, distributed load. Pointed load can be vertical. Mostly it is vertical. It is on the vertical on the axis of the beam. But there are instances pointed loads are acting on the beam at an angle, which thus creates one of its components is creating a vertical load and another of its components creating an axial load of the beam. Next, another type of load is a couple, a torque is acting on certain point of the beam itself and creating a torsional bending moment over the support itself. These are the four types of externally applied load we can imagine: pointed load, distributed load, different type of distribution, your uniformly distribution, different type of distribution like this, can be torque, can be axial pointed load like this. All these things can happen only one at a time, maybe only one point load, only one distributed load, one torque, etc. And all of them can happen more than one at a time. A bar can have certain portion of it as loaded as a distributed load, and in certain point it has a torque, and in certain point it has a pointed load like this. It can have one vertical load vertical to the axis of the beam, and it can have another load which is at an angle to the axis of the beam itself. All this combination of load is possible. And now what we have to do, I have told you that undergraduate course why you are bothering about this all these things, because say we have to design the beam. Next, how we will design the beam unless you know the load. After you know the load, you have to find out what are the different bending moments and what are the vertical reactions all these external fluids are external loads are creating. And over these two supports, the external load and bending moment acting over a beam, we can find out what are the shear stresses acting at different section of the beam and what are the bending moments acting at different section of the beam. And depending on the amount of the bending moment, we can calculate the bending stresses at different section of the beam. This two requirement is essential for us to design the beam, because you have supposed to know the shear stresses, we are supposed to know the bending stresses, and we are supposed to know what is the maximum value and what is its minimum value in order to design or manufacture a beam without a failure. But how will you do? How the practical, these are all analytical matter, theory and analytical problems, but how you can do the practical load, practical experiments over it. What the additional point you can find from your practice? What is that? Here, what we are practicing is we have a beam, mostly made of wood of certain cross section. Mainly it is rectangular cross section, and it has certain supports. And we have to apply different known beam, known weight. We can mostly apply pointed load by hanging different loads at different portion of the beam, and we have to find the reaction it is created at both the ends. Here only two reactions, only we have two supports. Sorry, we don't have any cantilever beam support. We don't have any distributed load over it. We don't have any triangular distributed or elliptical distributed like this. No, we are having only one support, only two supports. We are having only pointed load, maybe one, maybe two as per our requirement, but they are pointed and acting normally to the longitudinal axis of the beam. And we are supposed to carry out what is the reaction due to this beam, due to the external support, it is exerting on the ends. And then we have to calculate what from our equation, from our theory of bending or theory of cantilever beam, etc. What is what are the weight of the beam? I mean, what are the reaction we are supposed to calculate? And we have to tally with the actually found reactions. In order to do so, what we are supposed to do have is universal frame and spring balance. Spring balance adjuster. The spring balance are this universal frame is kept over at one end, kept over one spring balance, and another is having another spring balance. And this balance will tell you what is the reaction or that particular type of particular end. And ends are all freely supported. They don't we don't have any hinge joint at any end. We are freely supported, and they are supported at both the ends, not away from the ends itself. The spring balance is required, and there should be some adjusting arrangement on the spring balance where which you can adjust to see due to the application of external loads, maybe one, maybe two, in different position of the beam, how much the reactions are carrying, how much the loads are reaction are carrying actually. And we have to then calculate the reaction analytically, and you have to match it with our experimentally found results. So what we require is universal beam. It is freely supported on both the ends, and in both the ends we have actually one spring balancer with spring adjuster itself. The if there's a test beam, it can be square, rectangular, and of a rectangular, mostly rectangular in dimension, and it should have enough known length. There should be a frame at both the ends where over which the spring balance can be kept. There should be load hanger, maybe one or two or three, and a set of weight of known weight, where which we can hang from one hanger to another, and we can change the load from hanger to hanger. And there is a measuring tape. We have to calculate the position of the hammer. I mean, position of the hanger from both the ends. It may so happen this position is originally determined and written on the test beam itself. In those cases, we don't need any use of measuring tape itself. So, what is the theory I've just discussed with you? It is all telling the same. Both support of the beam and roller supports, or one support and one is roller and other is hinged. This is the definition of simply supported beam. It is a structural member. Structural member, it is मतलब क्या है? It is made from a structural item, which means it has a definite cross section, uniform cross section throughout its length, and it should supposed to have any void, free of any sort of void inside it, and it should be homogeneous as much as possible. Means everything, everywhere, it should have the same material throughout its length or throughout its cross section itself. Here, it is always kept horizontal and straight, and is provided to carry the load vertically or inclined to the axis. It is also possible if some simply supported beam is one whose ends are resting freely on the support, we can provide only vertical reactions. There is one problem is there. Just let me mention you for give you a few words. In one support should be hinged always in order to have a external load or external pointed load which is at an angle with the beam. If it is only hinged, only then this is possible with the simply supported beam. If both ends are simply supported, both ends are just freely supported, then this type of external load is never possible to carry. Beam cannot carry this type of external load which is at an angle with this axis. It can never carry. So one side must be hinged if you want to carry a angle load or a axial load at an angle with the axis. So here we are only having simply supported beam, and so we can apply only vertical beam so that we can have a only vertical reaction, no horizontal reaction itself. A beam is supposed to be statistically determined when all these reaction components can be calculated by applying three conditions of statical equilibrium, that is sum of V, sum of all vertical forces, sum of H, sum of all horizontal forces, sum of M, sum of moment of any point on the beam itself. So what is the procedure? Now place the beam of certain known length on simply support itself. Note that both the simply supports have spring arrangement. On loading, the spring compresses due to reaction force, and the compressive force is indicated on the dial itself. So both the ends you should have a weighing system. Beam can be kept on two weighing system, two weights, electronic digital weights, which is very much available today. On both of its ends, a certain portion of it should be over the weight itself, machine itself. It can be so happen full length of the platform carrying of the road surface will be covered by the supported beam, and it is hanging between at the end of the platform of the beam of the weight of the measurement weighing machine to the end of the platform of the another weighing machine. Now, what we have here, we put this on the weighing machine itself. This type of weighing machine is possible, but another type of weighing machine is also possible. It is a vertical weighing machine which is itself hanging from some support itself, and its lower head is carrying a hook which is being put inside a hole or some hanging nails at the end of the hook itself, so that the total beam is being hanging from the weighing machine, weighing platform itself. Both are adjustable. Both are supposed to be the same before a new load is applied, otherwise our calculation may be wrong. And both are adjusted to be a zero load. Means they are not supposed to take into account the weight of the beam itself, individual self weight of the beam itself. So what happens? There should be some adjusting procedure. What we are supposed to do is, first, in this type of case, all right, also this where the beam is supposed to be hanging from the weighing machine, and the first instrument was being was supported on the platform of the weighing machine. Both cases will adjust the dial. After the dial is fixed, dial is, you see, movement of the dial is restricted, then you'll adjust the total indicating a arm to the zero of the weighing machine itself. That too from the horizontal platform like machine, that too from the vertical measuring weight machine. Both sides will put zero. As per the assumption, we'll say how much weld is created, only will then you know, otherwise you have to adjust it from the weight of the machine itself. Next, we are having load hangers. Load hangers are kept on the beam itself and set the left and right hand dial pointer to zero itself. First, we have to put the weightless hanger over it. Now, both sides put a hanger over the particular position of the beam first before you put the load. Then see the load setting over the your weighing machine, maybe horizontal, maybe hanging weight machine. Both of them see the weight and put the dial, move the dial, and rotate the dial to keep this weight at zero in both the ends. Thus we are weighting the weight as well weight of the bar itself, and we are just making it to we are nullifying it to adjust this self weight to make the self weight zero to our low, because we can then we will have the only the reaction from the weighing machine itself. Next, what happens? Next, suspend a single load from the hanger. You know the weight, and we have to calculate from the distance from either left or from right support itself. Or you can do such thing. There are groups on the beam itself which have certain known length, and both the groups have certain known length itself. Now, next, the advantage of this group is you don't have to measure the distance from the ends itself. You can safely have it, but if you don't have like this, you will have to check this length from a certain point from the beam itself. Both sides we should point out a particular point, not exactly at the end, but say 1 centimeter away from the end, which is supposed to be the edge support of the beam itself. Or if you are kept over a weighing machine under it, he will keep total length of the bar should be supported from one end to another of the weighing machine itself. Means total weighing machine is carrying the bar from one end, and same is case to the other end. Another total weighing machine is carrying the bar itself, and the bar covers from one end on circumferential end to the another circumferential exactly opposite to circumferential end. We are getting the support of full weighing machine. Here also we have to make a zero setting on the weighing machine. Generally, weighing machines are today are all digital. You can put set zero set on this oil your itself weighing machine itself. Now, first suspend the single load. First, you have to suspend, or you have to keep the prismatic bar over the weighing machine itself, or hanging from a particular known point from the hanging weight weighing measurement, and then we have to make the both the reading of weighing machine equal to 0. If it is a electronic digit, then very easy, simply push the 0 value. And if it is manual machine, we have to adjust, we have to rotate the dials and make the dials equal to 0. So here we are nullifying the weight of the bar as well as weight of the hanger carrying over the machine itself. Next, what we are going to do, suspend the single load from the hanger itself. We suspend a single load from the hanger because we know the load value itself and their distance x from the lead support. And we measure it if it is not already measured or given on the mid load itself, but given on the bar itself, and we are keep the weight of a certain distance away. We can start with the exactly middle of the beam. What is the maximum weight it can carry when your car or bus is going over the beach, which is hanging support, but throughout the length, it is totally free. But heavy bus, passenger car as well as trains, all are going to riding over this type of beam. So first we have to find out what is the reaction at both the end of the beam while putting the hanger exactly at the middle of the beam. You put the hammer at the center and note the left and right side support of the dial by bending itself. Repeat this step around 5 steps and be ascertain whether this machine hammers are foolproof. They don't have any backlash. They don't change the material, change the strength of the load overnight. And besides, we are all assuming that is isotopic material, load is uniform on both sides of the machine itself. Next, by putting the self weight, putting the hanger at the middle of the load and sustaining the same load, then suspend the single load from the hammer, note the weight value, and measure the distance x from both the ends. Next, go to the right side dials. Right and left side dials gives you the supports the dial reading. Repeat the above to at least thrice by changing weight in hammer and picking at the center and changing hammer position for 2 or more observation position. So what we are doing here, we are first putting the weight at the hammer at the center of the hammer, then put it out and send or fixed at the other end of the hammer, so that even removing that can be being used for the machine itself. Repeat this step for thrice by changing the weight of the hanger and also changing the hanger position at least two or three more set of observation likely. Now, question is the experimental value of the theoretical load itself. Now, how will you do it? First of all, the serial number is supposed to put according to the system itself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and reaction A is given, reaction at B is given, and distance from A is known. So load distributed should be this one. Would be put here. Thus we will have for each load, we'll have 3 to 4 checking and put in the same here. Now we have to calculate the weight of the reactions at both the ends analytically when you know the position of the externally applied hammer and the amount of load carried by the hammer itself. Now, After doing all these things, we have to check it again and again itself. But one thing should be kept in mind. There are few precautions. You have to apply the load without any jerk, or it can give you erroneous results. Ensure the support of the sufficient rigid, and one most important thing, well, it is properly calibrated or not. If it is not properly calibrated, you have to do everything. Supports over from which the vertical weighing machines are hanging should be good and should be strong, rigid, and should not move or tilt by the action of this application of external loads. Otherwise, all our reading will be wrong. Every beam, every maybe made of kit, maybe concrete, or whatever it may be, it have a specific limit for appearance itself. This specific limits that I will give you next year. Let us go and sharing few external loads. Please let us go and sharing some of the uh, videos which is being supplied to us, which is where I have downloaded from the machine from the YouTube itself. It will be a bit good and excellent videos. It will serve your purpose itself. Next, share room screen.
In order to understand beams with internal hinges, it is necessary. To know the concept of statically determinate and statically indeterminate beams. Consider two bridges as shown. One is continuous beam bridge ABCD, whereas the other is a simply supported beam bridge LN. Suppose two cars of weight W1 and W2 approach each bridge and stop at midspans. In order to calculate reaction forces at supports of each bridge, this system can be simplified into a plane system for each bridge as shown, where VA, VB, VC, VD, VL, VM are reactions at A, B, C, D, L, M respectively. To calculate reaction forces, three conditions of equilibrium are applied. Since there are no forces in horizontal direction, sigma Fx cannot be used. For continuous beam, the number of reactions are 4, and for simple bridge beam, the number of reactions or unknowns are 2. Thus, because of greater number of unknowns in continuous beam, reaction forces at supports cannot be calculated using conditions of equilibrium. Hence, it is called statically indeterminate beam. However, if the number of reaction forces or unknowns are exactly equal to conditions of equilibrium, thus they are called statically determinate beams. Thus, one of the main purposes of introducing an internal hinge is to reduce this indeterminacy. Consider the continuous beam bridge from the previous example, but internal hinges are introduced across the section of the beam at point C and F, as shown in the figure. Let three cars, car 1, car 2, and car 3, of weights W1, W2, and W3 approach the bridge and occupy certain positions on the bridge. If a free body diagram of the beam is considered, due to the internal hinge, the beam can be isolated into three sub-beams. Since beam is split at two internal hinges E and F on section A, internal hinge E will produce horizontal and vertical reactions HE and V equally. And since the beam is in equilibrium, by Newton's third law, equal and opposite reaction forces will be produced on section EF as shown. Similarly, on the other side of section EF and the section FD, equal and opposite forces will be produced as shown. Conditions of equilibrium can now be applied to the section E individually such that the number of unknown support reactions, that is, VA, HE and VE, is equal to equations available. Similarly, number of unknown support reactions in the other sections EF and FD are equal to number of equilibrium conditions available. Thus, it can be seen that by adding internal hinges, indeterminacy of the beam can be removed. To find the shear force and bending moment diagram of a beam with an internal hinge, consider a continuous beam ABC of length L with an internal hinge D at a distance L by 4 from the end A. Consider two cars, 1 and 2, of equal weights W, approaching the bridge and stopping at distances L by 8 and 3L by 4 from the end support A. If a free body diagram of the continuous beam is taken, the reaction forces and the loads are acting on the beam as shown. As we have an internal hinge at D, the beam can be isolated into two subsections AB and DC with equal and opposite reactions at internal hinge D in both sections. On applying conditions of equilibrium to section F, unknown reactions are A. PD will be given equation 1 and equation 2. Reaction force HD will be 0 as there are no horizontal forces acting on section. Similarly, on applying boundary conditions on section DC, the unknown reactions of B and RC will be given by equation 4 and equation 5 respectively. Now the reaction forces are calculated. Isolated sections of beam can be combined as shown. To calculate shear forces, consider left and right sections at supports A, B and C. As there is no external loading on the internal hinge of the beam, it will be considered as the general section of the beam. For section AL, considering left hand of section and applying sign convention, shear force will be given by equation 6. For section ER, shear force will be given by equation 7. For section EL, shear force will be given by equation 8. For section ER, shear force will be given by equation 9. For section BL, the shear force will be given by equation 10. Similarly, for sections BR, FL, FR, CL and CR will be given by equation 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15 respectively. Since there are only point load acting on the beam, the shear force diagram will be drawn as shown. To show the bending moment diagram, points A, B, C, D, E, F are considered on beam. Internal hinge acts like a